Good morning traders and welcome to today's live trading. Today is the 16th of August, it's a Thursday, and as usual we are on the FTSE 100. So just to quickly run you through my band analysis for this morning, you can see we've got one around the 740 level where price is currently sitting at the moment. We've got a few below here now, and I've marked a 2 or 3 above as well. I'm not going to bore you with the exact levels. If they do become relevant as the day goes on, I will show you them in a little bit more detail. Just to jump out to the 4-hourly chart, you can see yesterday we had a really decent sell-off without looking back at all really until the end of the day. So it has broken down below the lows over the last couple of months really. And it's just revisiting this band here. This is the one we're currently sat in with the previous swing low, and this was a pretty abrupt one. So it'd be interesting to see how price reacts from here. So added to the retest of this swing, we have also come up into the hourly ATMA, and if I jump over to the hourly chart, you can see we're just testing this hourly 21 moving average as well. So quite a bit of resistance up at this level. So it'd be interesting to see if we could get an early morning setup and just look to trade this down towards sort of 720, just the highs here. I'd draw this in around about that level. If we get a decent pin bar or something like that, I mean it's 7 minutes to now, so it would have to happen pretty quickly, and it doesn't tend to move too quick. One concern I have for today is when you have a day where price moves like this with such decisiveness in one direction, and it's moved quite far considering the daily range at the moment on the FTSE. What you tend to get the following day after a day like that is just a lull, just a nothing day where price moves sideways. So I am a little bit concerned about that. Hopefully we don't get that, but it might just be worth bearing in mind that we might not get much of a range today. Excuse me. So I guess we'll see. 5 minutes to the open. I'm going to go get a drink and I'll catch you later. So we're just coming up to 9:15. You can see we did have a move down to this level that I identified early this morning, but sadly just no signal. This was the open candle here, this big red bullish candle, and we'd moved back up, popped back down again. You can see we did get a sort of engulfing candle here, but sort of two things went against this. It only came at 8.20, so we haven't had much price action before this, so it's not really engulfing much price action. And that said, it's not actually bigger than the opening candle. And second, if this is our target down here, we're going to be taking, going up 11, 12 points risk for potentially 5 points profit. That's never going to be a good deal in anyone's books. So I obviously didn't take that trade. But price did move down to this level and reacted better than I thought it would, to be honest. It's obviously, as you can see, it's come right up into the top of this band now, which I didn't think would be happening. But that said, if I take you out to a 4-hour chart, you can see it didn't quite make this band, and this is the reaction that we've had, and we're just coming up now to test this ATMA, which I really like. We've obviously tested the ATMA a long time ago on the hourly, but what we've done now is test it from the top side. So if price was going to come down on the ATMA on the hourly chart that was untested from this side, then there's always that potential for a bounce. Now we've tested it actually a couple of times. Breaking that ATMA is not going to be that surprising. So it's set up quite nicely for a short. Obviously, if it carries on moving higher and comfortably breaks above this band, then that's going to be quickly forgotten about. Really depends what happens over the next 5, 10, 15 minutes. I mean, as it stands on this 5-minute chart, it's looking quite bullish now. We've taken out this low, moved higher, we're taking out this high. We haven't just spiked above this high. You can see we've closed right at the highs, and we're now moving higher. So yeah, I mean, it's looking like it might want to move a bit higher. That said, yesterday's close is down here around the 7,500 level. Price usually likes to tag that within the day's trading, so who knows. My preference would be for it to not break this band, but if it's going to do it, then so be it. It's quite a distance up to the next band, but if it did get up there, I would definitely be interested in sells. So yeah, it's just a case of watching still. Unfortunately, I would really like to capitalise on this move down. We just didn't get the signal, and I'm not going to force it just for trying to get a trade out or whatever. So I'll go back to watching and catch up with you later on. Okay, so not long after we were just talking, it has put in a large bearish pin bar right at the top of this band. Now, this setup is one I sort of class as is an early setup, so it's a little bit riskier. The success rate of these trades they're not as good as standard just standard trades from bands. But what they do offer is really good risk to reward. So the stop on this would be 11 points, but the potential reward on it will be going up nearly 30 points because we'd be targeting the band below now. So you're looking almost like 2.5, nearly 3 to 1 on this trade. But that said, I didn't react quick enough to get the order in initially, and as it started moving up, I thought I'd just do the talking around the trade first. So if this does actually close above here, then which it's looking like it's going to do, that's a bullet dodged maybe. If it starts moving down, I will put the order in because I do like the setup. But if it closes above, that would void any trade setup I'd be looking at anyway. So it's looking like it might want to do that. But yeah, that's basically what I'm looking at just at the moment. It's a couple of minutes till this candle closes, so I'll pause the recording for now. And if it does close within the body of this signal candle, then I will update you further. But that's a potential trade that I'm looking at there. Okay, I'm just going to put a long order in just above this candle here. I'll explain it in a second. High of 48.5, so I want to be at 49.7. Excuse my phone. So yeah, the order's in. It needs to pop down just a little bit just to let us in because I've just been a little bit late to this. But I was talking about getting short from this band, and looking at the higher time frame patterns, that's probably what I would lean towards. But you've got to go with what the actual price action showing you, and we have had a really comfortable break here. We've had an even more comfortable break above this band and a return. So as much as I can look at it and guess pretty much that I'd like to see this come down, that's not what I think will happen. That's not what the price action in line with my strategy is telling me. So I've just got to go with what my strategy tells me. So we've had a nice break. We've got this signal. Annoyingly, I'm not in this trade. I'm watching it go without me at the moment. The 4 hour, we got this candle closed at 10. So we've had a nice poke through this ATMA. We've tested it comfortably, poked through it comfortably, popped down into the band. So because we've tested this ATMA now, I'm happy that the next candle has a good chance of breaking it. We're already above the ATMA on the hourly, so there's no need to be concerned with that. And the price action on the 5 minute shows a nice break above this band. It's given us a signal candle. It's all there. So as much as I'd look at maybe the higher time frames and think it's probably quite bearish, in the short term, maybe we're going to have a bullish bounce up to this band where the bearish sentiment might continue. That's all well and good. Putting an order in and not getting triggered is a little bit annoying. It's just part and parcel of trying to record these trades as well. But I'll leave the order in. I'll bring the ticket across so you can see it. Target wise, I would just be looking up towards this next band really. So look, it would be 6 points risk, looking for probably up to about 75, so around 25 points profit. It's really quite annoying that we're not in this trade yet. Hopefully it does pop back down and just let us in, but this candle's come up quite a distance already, so if it was to come back down it would look fairly negative if it was to do that. So who knows? We'll keep, like I say, we'll keep watching and see what happens. Right, so 20 to 11 now, and just looking at this trade, not really because I'm not in it, annoyingly. But if price were to come down now, after failing two times at this level, to come down and then tag my order, do I really want to be in there? Because the thinking with leaving your order is, if I had have got in normally, the price comes up, price comes down. At the point that it's coming down, I'm going to be in the trade anyway, right? Because I've been triggered in. So if the trade was to turn around still, because they've all got a certain success rate, and that doesn't, sometimes they will just go past the first piece of support and resistance they come into. Sometimes they will react at it and then have a little retracement and then come back. So you still don't know the outcome of the trade, even though it's maybe reacting at the first support and resistance level it's got to. So you're thinking, well, I should probably still be in it then. If price comes down, I'll just let it trigger my order. But that's okay with some circumstances, I think. But in ones like these, where we've had, basically, I know it's not the exact same level, but we've had this will be the third attempt to push up higher. If it rolls back down now to this band, it's essentially testing this level, right? One of these has got to give at some point. So if it is going to roll down now, do I really want to take a trade here with an old signal when it's potentially going to break past this level? It might want to come down and retest like the pivot, where we've had a few pins down here and some consolidation this morning, and at that point we might get another signal, which then we'd be able to target back up here. We'd be able to retarget maybe this high with a decent risk to reward. We wouldn't have to go as far as the next band. Probably not. So what I'm going to do is cancel that order. I was jibber-jabbering there, and it was looking like it was going to come down and take my order before I even got a chance to do it. But yeah, that's basically what I'm thinking. If price does come down into the band, reacts and goes up higher, then fine, whatever. The original trade would have worked, and perfect, that's what you've tested. But just because I missed the trade, it's not extra risk, but it just seems less probable that the trade will work out at this point to me, given how high it's gone. If it had just gone up to the ATMA, for example, and come back down, no problem. I would have definitely been in that trade then. But we've actually come into what looks like a really decent level that it's again failed at. So I'm happy to ignore that. So yeah, maybe we look down here now. Maybe we look down towards the pivot. It's looking like it wants to retest this if it is going to come down. So we'll see. I'll go back to watching for now, and as far as another trade setup goes, like I say, we've got maybe down at the pivot. If it wants to come down and break down below here, I'm very happy to look for shorts. I've been saying that all day. We'll just have to see what price decides to do. So we are now just coming up to 1:15. You can see the market has fallen asleep a little bit. I talked about this early this morning, just with the movement that we got yesterday. Sometimes you can see a lull in the price action the following day. To be honest, we had a pretty lively morning, more lively than I thought we were going to get, to be honest. But we've just come up to this level here, and we've just dropped off completely now. Sideways for a good couple of hours. So Obviously, this is the trade that I missed. I would still be in it as it stands. It'd have been about halfway to target. I think we said about 25 points. I think on this one. And it got up to about 12. So yeah, it was about halfway. It's not very convincing price action, but then it's neither here nor there, to be honest. If you're looking at potential levels of support, it's struggling with this one. I know it's breaking through it just as we're talking now, but it's definitely slow and a bit tedious to watch at the moment. So I think I'm going to go grab a coffee, maybe grab something to eat, and I'll be back a little bit later on. Hopefully this picks up and we do get some trading done this afternoon. So at 6:30 now, end of the trading day, obviously. I can't remember when the last update was. I think it was just after this little bit of a lull here that we had in the middle of the day where we chopped sideways. That actually went on for, from like start of 11 o'clock till nearly 3 o'clock. So, 4 hours of pretty much sideways price action. But it's a funny old day because let me point to it. Here was the signal that I missed. I put the order in, it just never got triggered. And then I said, once price had come up to this high, I wasn't happy to leave my order in, because if it's going to fail from a proper level, really, what would have been a double, some would class as a triple failure at this level, and it was going to come back down to my order, then more than likely it would roll over, and I stand by that. But the market will teach you bad habits. I promise you that it will teach you bad habits. So, like, for example, today, I think the high of this candle was 45.3. So it was 48.5. So my entry would have been 49.7. This came to a low of 49.4, which is 0.3 low enough, obviously, to trigger me into the trade. And then, as you can see, ultimately it did reach that next band, which I did say would be the target. So if you look back on this, it would be easy to look back on this day with such frustration, because for the majority of it, barely anything happened. You can't do anything with 4 hours of sideways price action. If you're going to sit and stare at that all day, then you're just going to get frustrated. Add on top of that a missed trade with a 6 points risk to 25. That's nearly, not quite obviously, somewhere between 4 and 5 to 1 risk to reward trade that you miss, that works out. It's going to be a kick in the teeth, a massive kick in the teeth. So you can see why somebody would, if that happens to you, you get so frustrated because you've not taken any trades all day. You've missed out on a potential 4 to 1, 5 to 1 trade. You're thinking, the next time that happens, I'm not missing out. If I don't get, if I miss my entry like I did there, I'm either going to just manually enter late, which increases your risk and lowers your reward. In this case, that would have been okay. There's plenty of room for that. Or I'm just going to leave my order in, and if price comes down and tags it like it would have done this time, then great, I'm in the trade. But in actual fact, this barely happens. Like, barely happens. So for the 1 or 2 times that this does happen, don't let it undo your hard work, because more often than not, after failing 3 times at level, this is probably going to roll back past where your entry was. So, there's not a lot you can do about it. Yeah, it's really annoying I missed the trade, but so what? Tomorrow's a new trading day. There's going to be plenty more mistakes that you'll make. If you're going to get frustrated about every little one of them, then you're going to end up this emotional trader that just, you're never going to progress any if you take the mistakes too personally. At the end of the day, we're human. Even if you've been doing this 10 years, you'll still make mistakes. It happens from time to time. Like I said at the time, this is just part and parcel of trying to record the day's trading. I like to show you me actually getting into the trade, rather than doing it all and then recording it. I like to show you the actual process of me getting into a trade, and my thoughts at the time. And part and parcel of doing that means that sometimes I'm either going to be a little bit late to the trade, or I might miss 1 or 2, which has happened today. But never mind. Like I said, the mistakes happen. Don't beat yourself up about them. Learn from them, log them, You know, whatever your processes are in order to get better, do them, but please don't get frustrated about them. Unless, of course, you're making the same mistakes over and over, and then maybe a little frustration is needed, you know, to kick you up the backside and actually make some changes that are going to progress you as a trader. But yeah, that's pretty much the story of today. Just the one missed trade, 25-point risk to a 25-point reward to a 6-point risk. So a decent little setup there, and not much else to do. It took basically that signal came at 10:15. It didn't get there until 3:45, and then it just hung around there until the end of the day. So, sort of August markets-ish price action there. I think it's August markets tied with, we had such a good move, I keep banging on about it, but we had such good movement on the market yesterday that we often get a lull. Granted, this doesn't really qualify for the lull that I was expecting, but sometimes you do get the lull the next day. Maybe it's a little bit of both. But nevertheless, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you managed to take something away from it. You know, that's the aim with these videos at the end of the day. I don't mind too much that the trade was missed. You saw that I was trying to take the trade. You saw my processes, you saw my thoughts. And if there's things that you can take away from these videos that help you get better as a trader, then that's what it's all about. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. If you have, please do leave a like on it and consider subscribing. And I'll see you next week.